You know, if I lived the same day over and over and over, I'd probably go mad. Would I? What's up, everybody? Welcome to Movie Importance Flashback Reviews, where we take a movie from our past, from our childhood, watch it, break it down, tell you what we think about it. If you like what you see, as always, remember to rate, subscribe, comment, check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. I wanted to talk about a movie that I'm kind of divisive on. It's a movie I haven't seen, or I've seen many times. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. It's called Groundhog Day. It's a movie that's directed by the late, great Harold Ramis. It stars Bill Murray, it stars Andie MacDowell, and it stars Chris Elliott. The reason I wanted to talk about this movie is it's a fascinating movie about a guy named Phil Connors who's a weatherman. He goes to Puxatawny to see if the groundhog sees a shadow. And he's a jerk. He's kind of an asshole. He treats everybody around him like crap. He thinks he's being like tortured to do this, and so on and so forth. But he kind of falls in love with the Andie MacDowell character, and Chris Elliott's his cameraman. He mistreats. He's been around forever. But so the basis idea is they go to Puxatawny. They find out the groundhog sees a shadow, and there's a snowstorm, a major snowstorm that keeps them in Puxatawny. But the coming next morning, Phil Connors wakes up and everything's the same as the day before, which is Groundhog Day. And throughout the movie, as we know, because I'm sure many of you guys have seen the movie, he relives the same day over and over and over. So therefore, he learns about the city, he learns about Andie MacDowell's character, he learns about himself, becomes a better person, does things he's not supposed to, so on and so forth. He's basically like repeating everything, but sometimes doing it differently. Sometimes he goes crazy. Sometimes he steals money. Sometimes he steals the groundhog and throws it off the ravine. Now, I've always been split about this movie. I enjoy its characters. I enjoy what Harold Ramis was doing directing this movie. It's a fascinating study of a man who is a complete asshole, but he finds a way to turn himself around. He does things that are not reputable at first, but he gets to the point where he starts going insane, so he's trying to figure out how to become a better person. But he's kind of just a jerk in the beginning. And I like the idea of somebody being redeemed through the fact that he has to live the same day over and over. And there's a lot of mysticism, there's a lot of ideas about how Phil Connors is, dealing with like Hindu mythology and that he's having to repeat the same stuff over and over. And just the idea that they use that technique, that idea, and that they put it into a movie like this is actually wholly original. It's not really been done before. Bill Murray is playing someone who, he plays jerks in a lot of movies, but he's never been this jerkish. And to see his transformation throughout the movie, see him go insane, I think is actually quite amazing. And there's a reason this movie is well regarded as one of the best comedies ever made, because it takes the humor of the town itself, the characters, of the town itself. This has an early movie of Michael Shannon was in this movie. Bill Murray's brother, Brian Doyle Murray's in this movie. He's the mayor. And it has other characters like that. And you start learning a lot about the characters. You start learning a lot about Andie MacDowell. You start learning a lot about Chris Elliott. You learn that this group, this cast, is just normal people enjoying a day out of the year that's really kind of absurd. The whole idea of Groundhog Day is absurd and by itself. To see a shadow in 6 more weeks of winter, I mean, it's crazy. But Harold Ramis, who directed this, is well known for his comedic talents as a writer and director. And you see it in stuff like Animal House. You see it in stuff like Ghostbusters. You see it in stuff like Caddyshack. The guy knows how to direct and knew how to write comedy. And this movie takes comedy and takes it to an absurd level. I mean, there's stuff in this movie that, Phil Connors is, jumping off roofs, and then he's stealing money, and then he's trying to learn how to fall in love with Andie MacDowell, and then he beds like a whole bunch of women. So he's like kind of a narcissist, but he's kind of a jerk. But the way Bill Murray plays off the character, I think, is always fun and fascinating. It's always interesting to see the whole idea of what Groundhog Day is trying to do. Like I said before, I think Andie MacDowell is one of the standout characters in what she does, and I think Chris Elliott has fun with the role. He's playing that lovable loser who women don't really gravitate towards. They gravitate towards Phil Connors because he has more charisma, more energy. for instance, he goes at the very end of the movie when he goes to the auction for the guys, and he thinks he's gonna have the confidence to gain a woman, but the only woman that ends up like bidding on him bids 50 cents for him, and it's an older woman. It's that kind of character. He thinks he's better than what he ends up being, that type of thing. But he's a fun character. All the characters are fun. Stephen Tobolowsky probably has the most fun in this movie as the one who's selling insurance to Bill Murray. They've known each other in the past, and Bill Murray has he wants nothing to do with him. But just the idea that every time he walks around the corner in that market or the town, Stephen Tobolowsky's there. He's got like, hey, Phil Connors, and Bing, and just all that good stuff. I think it's a wonderful role that he has been inhabited. And I think just the idea of the characters in general having to play the same role every single day, just having to do the same thing every single day. Thank God this goes into different areas, different parts of the town, or we get kind of bored of it. I mean, seeing Michael Shannon and his soon-to-be wife, and if you saw Stephen Tobolowsky every day, it'd be just kind of weird. But I think the only thing that bothers me about this movie is it just, after seeing it so many times, I've probably seen it like 30 times, I just don't feel that the movie always clicks. I feel that it's a lot more mean-spirited than it needs to be. Yeah, Phil Connors is a jerk who's kind of like Scrooge, where he ends up learning his lesson in the end, but I just feel like this movie is so mean-spirited sometimes, and how Phil Connors uses women, how he treats the people in the town. These people are there just to have fun. They're a respectable group of people. They're middle class. They're just people there to have fun. And just the way he treats them, I don't always... Maybe that's part of the comedy, I don't know, but I just think it's sometimes mean-spirited. And I think, the way he tries to learn everything he can about Andie MacDowell just to sleep with her, and that's a little rough even today. And it's not to take away from their characters anyways. Bill Murray is a fantastic comedic actor. He's been in a lot of stuff, Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, Lost in Translation. So he's an amazing actor, but sometimes I think what he was going through, I think he was going through a divorce in this period, so his level of anger and his level of assholeness kind of shows through. And it's a real well-known, famous anecdote that because he was going through his divorce, he treated his friend Harold Ramis like crap, and they never worked together again, which is a shame, because some of the best movies that Bill Murray was ever in was because of Harold Ramis and his friends, working in Stripes and Ghostbusters and Caddyshack. It's just a shame to see. It's a shame to see a friendship like that dissolve because of somebody's issues with their family. Like Bill Murray would not show up on time, and that's just a shame to see. And it does hinder down the movie a little bit, because you can see Bill Murray, how he acts. I mean, maybe that's kind of how he acts anyways, but it's a shame to see that portion of this movie, or that movie making, caused a friendship to just dwindle like that. But I mean, outside of that, like I said, it's a fun movie. Everybody's seen it. The reason I'm reviewing it, because it's a movie that I find divisive in a lot of ways. I find like the whole death scenario a little messed up, but that's the whole, I guess, charm of the movie. So I can't really be down on it that much. But it's just, if I found any faults, I guess that would be it. But otherwise, it's still a fun movie. It's still an entertaining movie. It still has a lot of laughs. Like I said, Andie MacDowell, Chris Elliott, Michael Shannon, Stephen Tobolowsky, Bill Murray. Everybody in the movie is having fun. And whether there's faults in there or not is to be seen. But to me personally, there was. But that's pretty much it. That's my flashback review of Groundhog Day. As always, if you like what you see, remember to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. Comment, rate, subscribe. Email, of course. I never really say it, but email nlapola1138@gmail.com. But yeah, just remember to comment below. I know you've seen Groundhog Day, so tell me what you think about it. But with that, we'll go ahead and head out, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.